All right, so I forgot to record. So I'm recording this now, so those people that aren't here, they can go back and watch it. If you miss class, you're just gonna have to look for the recording. I'm not doing an extra lesson. Like, I'm not doing a big, long announcement. Some classes are doing announcements, or they put everything in the announcement and all the links. That's too much work. This is much easier for me to teach and then show you the recording afterwards. So you'll see at the end of class the recording for this class. So I'm going to go back now to the course calendar and walk you through some of the changes. Okay, so it's on my iPad. So I have my iPad so I can always see what you guys are seeing. All right, so nothing was due today. I've made some changes. I pushed things back. We'll talk about the interviews in a second, but right now you should be working on the Career Exploration Report Planner, and I'm going to walk you through that today. We'll look at it together and give you a chance. If you have questions, I'll explain this for you. We are going to look at the thank you letter, the thank you email guidelines, and we'll look at the rubric. All right, that's really all you need to be worrying about for today up until Thursday, is just to work on your thank you email and to work on the planner. The planner is based on two things. It's based on the interview that you conducted, and it's based on the research from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, which we covered 3 weeks ago when we were in class. Thursday, the reference page is due. So if you do the career planner, you already have the Bureau of Labor and Statistics on there. And we covered this in class, but I will cover it today as well. I'll go over some of the things. I sent you yesterday a handout in email that goes over this, how to cite on your reference page, how to cite in the paper. Remember, the interviewee does not go on the reference page. You only cite it in the actual paper. All right, so that's really all we're working on this week. And then I am going to talk about the next paper, which is the last assignment, really. And that will take us to the end of the semester. So as long as you've gotten the first paper, I've returned all the papers. I still have assignments. I can't find them. It says I have 15 assignments, so I will figure out where those assignments are. So let me unmute you. Does anybody have any questions about the schedule?
No.
No, I'm good.
All right, so again. So I have gotten some emails and some questions about the interviews. So if you haven't interviewed a person up to this point, you're kind of really behind the schedule, but now things have changed drastically in terms of what we can do, because you're really not supposed to leave the house. So if you haven't interviewed someone, you have a couple options. I will allow a telephone interview. So if you do it, I think that's the best case scenario, is to do a telephone interview. If you use the telephone, then use your speaker. And if you have a second telephone, so I would use a speaker on a second telephone and then use the one to record. Ask the person if you can record. You should take notes first or during the interview, because if something happens to the recording and you have nothing, then afterwards that will look bad. But so you still should write and type really fast, but ask them if you can record. That way, if you forgot something, you can go back and listen to it. That's one option. The other option is you can Zoom. Zoom is free, so you can actually have a free account. So if you want to talk to loved ones or friends, You can Zoom with them. That's a way. I mean, if you have FaceTime too, but Zoom is a free thing. It allows you 40 minutes in the free version. This is a little bit. This is the paid version, so it's a little longer. The third option is email. I don't like that because if you give them a list of questions and people answer, there's not really anything going on between you. So that's probably the least preferred method, but we have to do what we have to do at this point. I'm going to unmute. So if you have questions about this, ask me now. Is there anybody who hasn't had an interview? All right, that's great. Let me mute you again. I know it's impersonal, but all the background noise will get distracting. All right, so let's look at all right, I'm going to open up a document and walk you through this one. Just make it bigger. Okay, here we go. Share. This is the document I sent you yesterday. I don't know if I had given it to you before, but I sent everybody that over an email. And this kind of goes through exactly what you should be looking at. This is what your reference page should look at. And I do want to talk about the reference page. So you are using the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, but you're using really the same page. And I did go over this in class, but I want to make sure I talk about it one more time here. Keep in mind when you use the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, everything's going to be food service managers if that's your job. But each tab has a different title. And the titles is what you put in alphabetical order. So the H comes before the S, which comes before W. So the H would be A, the S would be B, and the W here is C. So I was looking at a planner or two this morning. Some people did their planners already, and someone had a B and a C, but they didn't have an A. So you have to have, if you have a B and a C, you have to have an A. All right. So, be careful of that. You should have at least 3 on your references page. Remember, on the reference page, you do not need to put anything about the interviewee on there. You're just using this. Now, you can unmute yourselves at any time if you have questions, all right? Because, stop me, ask a question before I move on. Okay. This explains what I just talked about. And the bottom is what your embedded citations are going to look like. And we've done this since day one, really, in talking about, I gave you the FDA and the USDA. Well, now we're at the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Remember the first time you write out the whole thing, Bureau of Labor and Statistics, brackets, BLS, comma, 2019, and it's A, B, or C, whatever one you use first. You don't have to put A first. You can start with C. Doesn't really matter. And you can have more than 3. You can have, however many tabs you want. That's perfectly fine. In terms of the interviewee, you're not writing their job. You're just writing the person's first initial and last name. Personal communication, not written large, it's all small. And then the actual date of the interview. All right. Personal communication works if it's doesn't matter if it's an email interview, if it's a telephone interview, if it's a face-to-face interview, if you're using Skype or some other kind of video, it's still personal communication. Are there any questions about that? So I would use this as you're writing your paper. All right, good. Let me. All right, so I'm gonna have to, I can't show one thing after another. I have to stop it and then share it again. So I'm gonna show you the next. So I wanna go over the planners a little bit. So this is what's due on Thursday. All right, if you look at the sample paper that's on D2L, you'll be able to see what the purpose statement is. It's basically saying something, the purpose of this report is to find out more about the career of nursing, all right? So it's the purpose of why are you doing this paper? And you don't need first person in this section here. Your primary source, that's obviously the person you interviewed. You know, what's their name, their occupation, what's their background? Oh, they've been a nurse for 25 years, works at BB Medical Center on the cardiac intensive care unit. Your secondary source is going to be pretty much the same thing. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, Occupational Outlook Handbook, okay, or Bureau of Labor and Statistics. So in this case, you're going to say the author is the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. The title of the source is the title of the tab, or the title of your career. So food service managers. Publication date, that's you'll find at the bottom of Bureau of Labor and Statistics. The source and organization, U.S. Department of Labor, I think it was. I don't remember. Retrieval information, write it out the way it would look on your references page. So that way I can give you feedback and say you did it wrong, all right, or you did it right. All right, these are the topics. You have a choice. There are some topics that I gave you, so you can put those in there. In each section of these, you want to make sure that you have both the interviewee and the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. So you shouldn't have one section that is just the interviewee. All right? So what you're doing is you're trying to use the Bureau of Labor and Statistics as a way to verify what the person told you. Plus, sometimes they might not know all the information, so you can supplement what they say with the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. So that's how you're going to use this. So you want to make sure in each of these sections, you have information from both the person and the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. If you have questions right now, go ahead and unmute and ask. All right, sounds good. Everybody is good. Your conclusion, if you look at the sample paper, you'll see how they put the conclusion in the paper. Your reaction is basically, oh, you were surprised to learn about, or you were pleased to learn about such and such, and now you want to really be a nurse even more. Or I don't know. That kind of is the gist of what you want to put on in this section. So here's the only other thing that I want you to know about this section of the paper, of this. In each of your sections, if you are using information from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, I want you to put a citation. The average salary, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, is $29,000. And then you're going to have your citation with it, which is the parentheses. okay? And you will then have 2019A. So let me show you what I mean. All right, give me a second. All right, so remember, the first time you use it in your paper, you will write out the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. And this is really a crappy job. And in parentheses, you're going to put BLS. All right. So according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, BLS, the average salary is $75,000. Will be nice. We'll give people a raise. So what would come in after this? So if someone chime in, unmute yourself and tell me what would come in here.
The number, like the 2019 and then the letter.
Correct. So I'll use 2019A and put it in like that. So remember, here's the basic rule. The rule is you always need three pieces of information for direct quotes. I can't figure out why the pen is writing like the fancy thing. I'll have to figure that out later. I hate that. All right, you need three pieces of information for a direct quote, always. You always need an author, and that's our author. You always need then a date, and we need one other thing that Brian didn't add. This is a direct quote. So what would we have to have for a direct quote?
The paragraph or the page number.
Yep. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is a website, so we're not going to have any page numbers. So we're only going to have paragraph numbers. Okay, so for direct quotes, you need three pieces of information. You always need an author, you always need the year, and you need a page or paragraph number. It doesn't matter what order it comes in. Okay, keep that in mind. If you have the quote in the beginning, then in the parentheses, you have all three pieces of information. So the quote in the beginning will look like this. Ugh. First time, Bureau of Labor and Statistics. I'm going to say stats, bracket, BLS, bracket, comma, 2019A, comma, paragraph 3, period, and then period on the outside. All right, that's the first time. After that, you just use BLS in your citation. Anybody have any questions? Okay. So if you don't want to count paragraph numbers, what's the easiest thing to do?
Paraphrase.
Right, paraphrase, put it in your own words. Some things you can't paraphrase though, like if you write the average salary, you've taken that from BLS, you have to cite it, you have to use a direct quote, okay? So keep that in mind. If you're using facts and statistics, you really can't paraphrase that. The facts and statistics are taken directly from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You have to use quotation marks, and you have to use that as a direct citation. If you're just talking about duties of a nurse, that's not hard to paraphrase. You can paraphrase that, and if you paraphrase it, you only need to say the year. All right. Or, well, the year if you start with the date. So let me give you a full example so you have it. Okay, so that would be your paraphrase here. Let's say the actual text is nurses work 12-hour shifts on average. So that at the top is the paraphrase for that. Okay, you still need 2 pieces of information because it is a citation, so you still need the author and you still need the year. We just don't need a page or paragraph number because these are your own words. That here is your own words versus the direct quote here. Okay. Is this clear? Does anybody have any questions? You want to know a way to do something? Okay. Give me a thumbs up when, if like I see some of you taking notes. So give me a thumbs up when you're ready, when I can remove this off the screen. Remember, it is recorded, so you could go back, but you don't want to listen to this twice. So I know how to do it too. I can save it. I just discovered I can save this to the photos and I can send it out as a handout. So I'll try it, but it doesn't mean it'll work. All right, so I've saved it to the photos, so I'll upload it. So if you're watching this, you can get a copy of that. All right, so I'm going to go back out. All right, so I'm back. So I unmuted you. I just want to double check. Does anybody have any questions so far? All right, so you're going to be, I'm going to unmute you then. So you're going to be working on the planner, using the information from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics and your interview. If you haven't done the interview yet, you need to get that done. Because of the situation, if you didn't get your interview done yet, just get it done. I'm not going to count late points for this, but you don't want to fall too far behind because everything will start to back up on you. All right. But, you know, we have been dealing with the virus now for a couple weeks. And so there could be cases where you couldn't get the interview done. So I will be as flexible as possible. Just email me and let me know that you're having difficulties or had difficulties, and let me know how it is resolved. So, you know, I'm just not thinking you're not doing the work. Okay. I am worried about the people that aren't attending. You can spread the word. I'll send out an email as well, but in order to be counted as attendance, we're not looking at necessarily who's coming to class now, but this is your easiest way to ask direct questions and to get help. Watching the video is good, but if you have questions, the video is not going to answer the questions if someone else hasn't answered that. By the end of the semester, they have extended the withdrawal date. So if this doesn't work out for you by the end of the semester, you can withdraw on the last day of the semester, okay? But I promise we will get through this, and I will work with you, and no one will fail if you are, you know, working with me on this. All right. Oh, Taylor, you have a question, but you don't have a microphone, I don't think. If you have questions, oh, there you go.
No, I don't have a question. I was just giving the hand clapping thing.
Oh, that's a hand clap. See, I don't know all these little things. Yeah, let me show you something really cool. This is like stupid, but you all have the possibility, I think, to do what I'm going to be doing. So, like, if you want to pretend you're in Hawaii or something and you're just relaxing and, yeah, who cares about the virus? It's spring break and we're online. You could do funny things like that too. It's if you look at the bottom where it says stop video, there is a little arrow. If you click on the arrow, it'll say choose virtual background. I don't know if you all have all those virtual backgrounds on there, but for me, I have a bunch of them preloaded, and it's just kind of fun. Like you can do floating in space and floating away, and you know, I don't know. It's kind of goofy, but
you pay, right, to host?
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Oh,
I don't have any space scenes on my phone.
Do you have any where it says a plus sign?
Nothing.
Oh.
Does anybody else?
So
I think
maybe
that just must be for the paid version. I don't see anything.
No, I will go back. I know there's a setting, so maybe I just didn't set it for you. There's a setting, and I'll go back so you can kind of play with that. But let me get out of space now because that looks funky. All right. So let me go over the thank you email, and then we pretty much covered everything today. All right, the directions for the thank you email are actually in week 5, because that was kind of the week that we've lost. I keep saying, yeah, I did say email. Okay. So you can look at it on your screen too, but I also have it on here. The email is being graded for format, content, and grammar and mechanics. So you want to make sure everything is good. Please do not send the email to the person until you've sent it to me first, because I need to make sure that there are no mistakes on it. It'll be quite embarrassing if you send it to the person and it's full of, full of errors. So as excited as you'll be, because it's only an email, don't hit send to the person. Just kind of type it out in a Word document first. Send it to me. I will look to make sure it is okay. It has everything in it. If you need to revise it, you can revise it. All right, I'll tell you, please revise. All right. So here it is again. Thank you email sent to your instructor for approval. Make corrections. After the corrections, I say you're good, then you can send it to the person. Make sure you CC me on it so I also get a copy of it. So you'll send it to the person, carbon copy to me. That way I know you actually sent it. Why do we do this? Well, that's one way to see that you really did the interview, because you're not going to send a thank you email to somebody, to a random person if you actually haven't done the interview. So that's why you need to copy me on it. That way I know it's going out. All right. You need to have a subject line. So in my other classes, my 2 online classes, this is what they all forgot. And I'm going to show you what you're going to do, what you're going to write for your subject line. Don't send it as an attachment. Should be in block format, and I'm going to show you what block format means. Make sure you start it with Dear, Mr. or Mrs. Please do not use their first name. Even if you know the person, you're not really supposed to, but don't use the first name. Dear Dr. Cook, and then you follow it by a colon. That's the double dot thing. Don't make it long. It needs to fit on one screen. All right, it's an email, and email should be short. First and second person is good. You have to say thank you. You can't say, well, I guess you could avoid it. You could say many thanks, but thank you. You gave me a lot of pertinent information. That kind of thing is fine. I want to thank you. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have interviewed you. You need to discuss 3 areas of interest. So here's what I mean by this. Don't say, thank you for the information you gave me. It was really helpful. That says nothing. All right. What you want to be is exact. Thank you for the information about working longer shifts. I didn't know that 12-hour shifts are the norm. In addition, it was nice to hear that the average salary at BB Medical Center is $150,000 for nurses. And lastly, I do appreciate you telling me that an associate's degree is all that one needs. All right, so what you're doing is in your thank you email, you're kind of reiterating to them. It's a way of saying to the person, hey, I listened to you. I got it, and I thank you for that information. All right, so don't keep it generic. Don't say, I really learned a lot about the job. That says nothing. Say exactly 3 things that you learned from that. So make sure you take good notes, and that way you kind of write it in the paper. The last kind of paragraph is to thank the person again. Again, many thanks for meeting with me. It's greatly appreciated. Yours sincerely, comma, and then leave some space, and then your name, first and last name. All right, so here are the parts. Part 1 is the introduction. 1 sentence. You thank them for the information. No details in here. Second paragraph, that's where you're going to discuss the information that they gave you. And the third paragraph, you're thanking the person again. So in D2L, there is a sample. This is way too small. I don't know if it's going to get bigger because it's a picture. That's better. All right, so let me make it just slightly smaller. All right. All right, so here's what your email would look like. Obviously, you don't have to put the two. Just put your email or the person's email that you're writing to. Okay. Here's the subject line: John, student, thank you, or whatever your name is, thank you. That's all you have to do for the subject. You don't have to do anything fancy. Dear Mr. Garcia, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. On the date, make sure you put the date in there and put the place in your office or on the telephone or through a Skype interview. The information I received from you is greatly appreciated. This interview will help me make, all right. So you can use that. I don't care. You can almost use that whole sentence. Just change the name of the person, change the place, and change the date. If you do that, you can't go wrong. The second paragraph is the 3 things that you learned. Again, very short. There are quite a few things from an interview that affected me the most. Number 1, having the same major as me reinforces I'm on the right path to owning my business one day. That is a long-term goal. I was unaware that the right classes to take that would prepare me. You told me you wish you had started your business with someone else because you feel it would have been a lot easier. That's great for me to know because I was planning to own a business. The struggles you told me about in our interview also affected me. So that's going to vary. You can't copy this paragraph. Just kind of tailor it to the information that you learned. So again, the purpose of this is really to let the person know, hey, thank you. I listened to you. This is what you told me. So make sure you get it right. Last paragraph is one little sentence. Again, comma, thank you so much for the interview. I don't care, write that. Write that exactly the way it is. Sincerely, your name, and then put underneath your email, your Delaware Tech email. You should be doing this all from Delaware Tech because it is official. And put your major. Block format means no indentation. It's all lined up this way, okay? There's no indentation. That's what block format means. Does anybody have any questions? Unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. Ah, okay. I just found out I could do that kind of stuff too. Cool. So you want to add this because that wasn't necessarily in the instructions. All right. Let me stop. I'm going to remove that because you have that on D2L. So all right. And lastly, you probably want to look at the rubric. The rubric is quite simple and straightforward. I know it's kind of small to read, but most of you should get the full 25 points. Just kind of go through this, all right? Email has all the parts, transitions. In addition, I learned that, or secondly, you told me that. Email starts with a formal salutation, followed by a colon. Again, don't use the person's first name, please be formal. Dear Mrs. So-and-so, dear Mr. So-and-so. Grammar, no errors. It's worth 2.5 points, but you know, you should get that. Subject line, thank you, email, or thank you, Mark Cooks, thank you, or whatever you want to put. You shouldn't get too many grammatical errors in that. Say about your purpose, that's that first line. Thank you very much for the interview. I'm going to use this information to help make my decision, etc. Shows deep appreciation. You're thanking them twice. Thank you very much, you know, and at the end, thank you again. Specifically mentions, this is where people lose points. 3 helpful aspects of the interview. Brief conclusion, that's that one-liner. Thank you again. And then lastly, you know, yours sincerely. So just to recap, you're going to be working on then the career research planner. That's due on Thursday. You should be doing the thank you email. Obviously, if you haven't done the interview, you can't do the thank you email. So if you haven't done the interview, please email me and tell me what the holdup is. Just let me know. In terms of the grammar quiz, I reset those people that took it. I reset everybody. If you didn't get an A, I reset it. Everybody has a chance of taking it twice now. So you can take it one time. If you don't like your score, you can take the same test again, or take, you know, different questions. You'll take it again a second time. I'm going to take the highest of the 2 scores. If you fail both of those, you can take the retake. So you have 3 shots, 4 if you've already done it. You have 3 shots of getting, you know, a decent grade on that first quiz. So I'll go through to make sure that everything was deleted and everyone's starting from a new slate with that. Okay. Moving forward for the second quiz, I will do the same thing. All right. We got enough stress with everything going on here. We don't need to actually have an extra stress with the quiz. So I'm going to be flexible on this and give you a couple shots at the quiz. So if you have the career research report, you want to make sure you also have your reference page. You'll submit the reference page on D2L. Let me make sure it's all there under week 6. Week 6 submissions. Yes. So week 6 submissions on D2L. I will move the report because that's not ready. You have your thank you email. When you have that done, and you have the references page for the career exploration thing, and I'm going to move the planner. I'm going to move right now, move to week 6. Okay, so this week is week 6. I have the planner submission now in that week 6. You'll have the thank you email, and you'll have the reference page, and I'll get rid of the career exploration report. I'll move that to the proper week. So I'm going to unmute you because I'm really at the end of what I really wanted to cover today. That's probably going to be, class will probably not go much longer than this. As I said, what I will do is I'll stay on. If people want to have individual help, I can always help you individually. If you want to meet outside of class time, you just go to my schedule. I'll show you that now too, so you know how to do that. Yeah. Under instructor information, down here is scheduling an appointment. I've added a bunch of hours. You just click on it. So I've added a number of hours, so I'm more available for you. I also put in evening hours. So on Tuesday, I have evening hours because maybe that'll suit some people. And I also added Saturday hours. So I got morning, I got evening, and I got Saturday. All right. All you have to do is simply click on one of those, and then you fill in your information there and book it. It's the easiest way because I get an email notification, and I will be on at that time. I'm not necessarily on the computer during those hours. Right. So that's the easiest way. Secondly, if you need to get me quickly, I have put a telephone number in the announcement. The telephone number is like a Google, one of these Google number things. You can text me from that number. Just make sure you say your name because I don't know, I won't recognize any numbers on this. So if you say, hey, Dr. Cook, can I schedule an appointment with you now? If it's during the regular workday, during normal hours, I should be able to be available for you. Use that telephone number. And just to recap where that number is, it's under the announcement, how we proceed. And here's the number here in the middle. It looks like a Delaware number, but it's actually like one of those fake things. But that way I don't have to give out my telephone number. Just kind of beware. Don't call me at like 11 o'clock at night because I'm probably not going to be awake. I'm at my house from Monday to Thursday, and from Thursday to Sunday, I'm taking care of my mom who has Alzheimer's. So my sister and I are splitting the duties there. So Monday through Thursday, I'm here at my house because it's easier for me because I have a better internet connection. And then the rest of the weekend, I'll be gone. So I might not be quite as quick to answer. So that telephone number here, you'll probably get, or Remind, if you're on Remind, you'll get a quick response. All right, so let me unmute. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I'm good.
All good.
Good.
All right, so if you all know what you're doing now and you have some examples, then we're good. I'm gonna see, let me just, I probably can't do, I'll figure out the picture thing, how I can send that later. Oh,
Where can we find this recording at?
so it's gonna take a while. So because these are kind of longer, it takes a long time for it to convert. First, I have to convert it into an MP4, and then I have to upload it to my YouTube channel. So probably within an hour, I'll send out an announcement with it, and I will send out an email for those people that weren't able to see it. Okay, so you always have that that chance to also have the video. It's easier for me if a couple people are in here because like talking to myself will be kind of stupid because I kind of like the interaction. So don't all go, oh, well, I'm just going to watch the recording and I won't come to class now because then, it's kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Yep.
How do we find your YouTube channel? Just your name?
You don't need to search my YouTube channel. I will post it. So my YouTube channel is
Okay.
nothing but boring instructional videos. No one ever watches it.
All right.
Okay. All right. So I will stay
Sounds good.
logged in till 12:50 because that's class. So If you sign out and want to come back in because you want to talk to me individually, that's fine. There's always a waiting room. So when you come in, I have to admit you. So if I'm actually talking to a person like during office hours, don't hang up. You'll be in a waiting room, and I think it tells you waiting for person to let you in or something like that. Just hang out there until I'm done, and then I'll admit you. If I'm helping someone individually, obviously we don't want to do it by a group. Okay. All right, then that's all I have for today. I hope you all have a good rest of the week. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
All righty.
Great. See everyone Thursday.
All right.
See ya.